بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and passing salutation upon His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which is an introduction that we always start our classes with, the introduction that Prophet of Allah used to say before his khutbahs and before also the marriage ceremonies, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and passing salutation upon His Messenger sallallahu, and that is called khutbah al-haja, the addressing or the speech of need. You need something and you address the people with the following khutbah, that is we have mentioned, and the need here is actually for us to be inshallah successful. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins with this talk. So in every time that we start a new topic, just to first of all clarify, the topic is the Fiqh, and the book that will be studied inshallah, Al-Wajiz, which is in English translation is Concise. Concise presentation of Fiqh. And an introduction is always needed before we start the class to give us some motivations. And nothing comes to the mind of the person who would address such a topic that would be more beneficial to the people than talking about the need to the knowledge. Because we need to adhere to the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's messenger's commands. And because of that, it is very important as well to shed some more light on the importance of that. And the thing that comes to my mind here is that it would have been much more helpful and beneficial to have a masjid instead of having halls and community centres, and then we book, and then the booking will not be as supposed to be. Like today, for example, they told me that the booking was not really registered, and they had to really locate your bookings, and then God knows if they did not really, acknowledge your booking, what's going to happen. So it has to be on our mind, very importantly, to get a masjid. It's very important. The masjid is actually the foundation that the Sahaba, the great Sahaba, were graduated from. Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali, all of them, they were graduated from this masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. First thing the Prophet of Allah had done, as soon as he migrated to Medina, because he was not able to do that in Mecca, is to build a masjid. So have that in your mind, because I know that you are at the moment trying to find yourself a place where you could really make a masjid, but also you need to be digging deep in your pockets, also making an effort to collect money from everywhere for the sake of course, halal sources, for the sake of building that masjid. So in your mind, that is the most important thing. You build a masjid, then we don't need to pay for halls and community centres, and we don't need to worry about bookings and all of that. So have that in your mind, because for the sake of the generation that is coming out, which is the children, they need a masjid. And I'll tell you what, the atmosphere that you get into the masjid is so totally different from the community centres. If you're in a masjid now, the imam boosts. Whereas here, the place that we were teaching, the place we were making tarawih, the brother just went there for the lecture because he thought it was there. He said music and dancing, and you don't want a place where you really teach and give Quran and Deen, and then after that, 5 minutes later on, somebody's making sort of a'udhu billah, haram things in it. So we need a masjid. So that at the back of your mind, you have to have a masjid. So sincerely make an effort and dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide us with allocation, masjid inshallah very soon. Very importantly. And you are a community, you could do that inshallah. The knowledge is needed in order for the person to worship Allah على بصيرة. قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة. If I don't have the knowledge, I will not be able to worship Allah properly. And already, alhamdulillah, we have set a class to correct our aqidah. And that is the most important knowledge. So we need now to correct our muamalat and ahkam and ibadat. So we need to govern our, as well, worship. So we have the aqidah to set our belief correct. But now I need to make sure that I do my ibadah correct. So my prayer will be correct, my fasting will be correct, my hajj will be correct, my charity zakah will be correct. So I need to make sure that I am ala basira, on knowledge. There's no such thing that you should be ignorant. Ignorance in Islam is a bid'ah. You should not be ignorant. You should be a person who learns. If you don't have the knowledge, ask. And inshallah, with this class, we're going to enlighten ourselves with the knowledge that is needed for us to go on our ibadah properly according to what Allah wants us to do it. So the ibadah has to be fulfilling two conditions in order for it to be accepted. There's number one, it has to have the sincerity, and number two, it has to have a correction, and the correction is only by following the Prophet ﷺ. No way your ibadah will be accepted if you do it in your own and based upon your understanding. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, مَن يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. Whom Allah wants good to him, Allah will give him the understanding in the religion. Not in physics, not in maths. You might find a professor in physics and maths, but yet he's an ignorant person in his religion. And not only that, you'll find some of the brothers who are not professors, they're not doctors, they're not even got a degree, but they master the dunya so properly. If you ask them about something regarding the dunya, he will give it to you in details and you'll be astonished. But when it comes to his prayer, he knows nothing. When it comes to his deen, he knows nothing. SubhanAllah. So a carpenter, just a simple carpenter, he will give you design and give you the precise measurements and all of that and with new ideas. When it comes to his religion, he's a layman. Why? Why should we be like that? So if I'm really able to be a master in my craftsman, in my job, I could be a master in my religion as well. And that should be the case. So if Allah wants good to you, then He will give you understanding of the religion. Have that in your mind as well. And this is one step of gaining that is to come to the circles and learn. And as for the companions and the followers of the followers, they set a very good example for us to follow. A role model. They would travel distances and bear the consequences of endangering their life by traveling through the desert. It's not really as safe as today. There's no lights, no electricity, there's no transport like today. They travel days and nights just for the sake of not that knowledge that you take in now, for a few knowledge, like one hadith. So Tirmidhi documents for us a hadith, an athar from Qais ibn Kathir, which is a great man from the era of the followers, whom had heard a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said. Now this hadith, he knows it, but he doesn't know it directly from a companion. He knows it from someone, and that person from a companion, then from the Prophet ﷺ. He's not satisfied. He wants to have it from the companions directly. So it would be between him and the Prophet only one person, that is the companion. As for us, as long as we take the knowledge from Google, it doesn't matter we take it from somebody who's a human being. It doesn't matter, does it? Google will give us the knowledge. SubhanAllah, if your Google is your sheikh, is Peace TV is your sheikh, is Islam Channel is your sheikh, I'm telling you, you are a person who is ignorant. So it's not just simply, I'm in my TV, I'm not going to come to the circle, I could just take my knowledge from the TV. Well, if there is nobody to teach you, then that will be the case. But if there is a circle, you need to travel a bit, not that much, about 3-4 minutes drive, 10 minutes drive, half an hour drive. But not days and months like those people before. Qais ibn Kathir, he heard that Abu Darda narrates this hadith. And this hadith talks about the excellence of the knowledge and seeking the knowledge and traveling for the knowledge. That is why he put on himself to take this hadith directly from the companion, so between him and the Prophet only the companion. Plus, it's like implementing what the hadith is talking about. I'm going to tell you the hadith. So he went from Medina to Bilad al-Sham. Abu Darda was in Bilad al-Sham. He died there as well. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu in Bilad al-Sham. And between Medina and Bilad al-Sham, minimum of 1,000 miles. Minimum. Okay? Talking about a lot of distance. Between Medina and Bilad al-Sham, minimum, I'm talking about maybe 1,300, 1,400. Between Medina and Damascus. And remember, there was no GPS at that time. So a person would be, in the middle of the desert, traveling. And God knows, is he going to arrive or not? So he went all the way. And he met Abu Darda. And Abu Darda was there. And he was giving some food, fodder to his animal. So he said to him, Assalamu alaikum. Salam. There's a hadith I've heard, that's from someone else, that you convey from the Prophet. So it's coming for what the sake of one hadith. So Abu Darda, before giving the hadith, being astonished, knowing that man coming from Medina, did you come for merchandise, for business, trading? Because Bilad al-Sham is known for trade. They used to trade, رحلة الشتاء والصيف, people of course to go to Bilad al-Sham and come back and get some food from there. He said, no. So did you come for marriage? I'm seeking a wife. So he said, no. So did you come for hajjah, something that you need to do? He said, no, I only came for the sake of that hadith. So that hadith needed that travel, and wallahi, rightly so. So he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, Prophet of Allah said, من سلك طريقا يلتمس به فيه علما سلك الله به طريقا إلى الجنة. Listen to the hadith. He who seeks a path through which he would gain knowledge from, Allah will put him on a path that will lead him to paradise. He who seeks a path upon which he would seek knowledge, that is knowledge in deen, then Allah will put him on the path that will lead him to paradise. وَإِنَّ الْمَلَائِكَةَ لَيَضَعُ أَجْنِحَتَهُمْ لِطَالِبِ الْعِلْمِ رِضًا بِمَا يَصْنَعُ. And verily, the angels lower their wings as a sign of humbleness and respect to the person of knowledge. وَإِنَّ الْمَلَائِكَةَ لَتَضَعُ أَجْنِحَتَهَا لِطَالِبِ الْعِلْمِ رِضًا بِمَا يَصْنَعُ. Being pleased with what he does, seeking knowledge. وإن الفضل العالم على العابد كفضل القمر في ليلة البدر على سائر الكواكب. And verily, the difference between the scholar and the worshipper. Worshipper, that means worshipping with ignorance. Just me worshipping. Even though he's doing very well, he's worshipping, but yet he's not a scholar. So, if this is the difference between a scholar and a worshipper, how about this difference between a scholar and an evildoer from the Muslims? He's a worshipper, he's doing worship, mashaAllah. But the difference between the scholar and the worshipper, just like the difference between the moon when it is full and the rest of the planets, the rest of the stars. You know when the moon is full, you don't see the stars next to it, do you? It's too bright. The little stars are gone. So that's the difference. Moon, mashaAllah, full. All these stars are finished, even though they are bigger than size of the moon, but they are too far. And the moon is close and it's really full. You only see the stars when there is pitch night, pitch darkness. Yes, but not with the moon. And another narration, Prophet of Allah was saying that the difference between the scholar and the worshipper, the person who is worshipping only, is the difference between me, Prophet of Allah, and the one who is the least amongst you. Ala adnakum, from the companions. You know the difference between the Prophet of Allah and the best of the companions, Abu Bakr? Abu Bakr is like a drop into the ocean of Muhammad. So what about the difference between the Prophet and who is not the one who is the best, but the least amongst the companions? That's the difference. Then he says, my dear boy, why are you sitting in the back? Come in the front. No, not sitting in the back, my dear. Don't set example for the other boys. And in al-alima, the scholar, the knowledgeable person in religion, لا يستغفر له من في السماوات ومن في الأرض. everything that happens, everything in the earth, seek forgiveness for him. They ask for forgiveness. Imagine, for the scholar. You're always saying, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon the scholars. Whether it is a human being, or an angel, or an animal, or something even does not have any life, inanimate. He will seek forgiveness. And the Prophet of Allah has given you an example. He said, حَتَّى النَّمْلَةَ فِي جُحْرِهَا. The ants which are in the holes, they seek forgiveness for that person who is seeking knowledge. Why? Because the scholar would teach the people not to burn the ants. It's not haram. حَتَّى الْحِيتَانِ. Even the fish in the sea. Why? Because the scholar had taught these people, you cannot hunt animals for fun. Fox hunting, bull torturing in Spain, in Sweden, or I can't remember, where they've got whale fun day, kill the whales for in hundreds, in thousands, and even they turn the sea into red. I think the Danish sea, something like this. Google it out, he will tell you. So we're not allowed to have fox hunting. We don't need a member of parliament to tell us that fox hunting is not allowed, because we can't have fox hunting like this. Can't have hunting for fun. Hunting is not for fun. You have to have food for it. You want to capture it, you get benefit out of it. But just for the sake of like this, you cannot kill a lion for the sake of a very expensive skin, or the tiger. You can't do that. I could have the skin of the tiger for a dead animal already, yes, but not to kill the tiger for the sake of the skin. So all of that, who taught us? Those are the ones who represents the Prophet ﷺ, who represent Allah the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala on the earth. Who is the one who signs on behalf of Allah? There's a fatwa. That's a signature. And when you say that is the hukum, the rule in this issue, this is the verdict regarding an issue. So you are actually talking on behalf of Allah Azza wa Jal. Do you understand that? You're signing on His behalf. And that is why the book of Ibn al-Qayyim, إعلام الواقعين عن رب العالمين. He said, talking about the ones, or أعلام الواقعين. That is, the scholars who are signing on behalf of the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the mufti, the sheikh, the scholar. He signs on his behalf because he's telling you what is supposed to be done in the salah, the zakah, whatever you're asking in the religion. So, and then the hadith says, قال وإن العلماء ورثة الأنبياء. Verily, the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. فإن الأنبياء لم يورثوا درهما ولا دينار. Prophets did not bequeath any money. The Prophet of Allah, when he died, he left a land which he took from the Fadak in Khaybar, and he left Baghla, which is a mule, and he left as well some sort of he had borrowed something from a Jewish man for the sake of barley. He borrowed some barley, and he shielded his as well his shield. So his spear, he gave it as a pawning, and he'd been pawned for the sake of returning some few. So a few barley, sa'. And when the Prophet ﷺ died, Fatima, she wanted to ask for a land of hers. Fadak. She inherited from the Prophet ﷺ. So she asked Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr said, there's nothing for you. She was upset. She said, well, I've heard the Prophet ﷺ saying, نحن الأنبياء ومعاشر الأنبياء, we the prophets, لا نورث, we do not bequeath. ما نتركه صدقة, what we leave is sadaqah, given to the Muslims. And that shows the Prophet is a prophet, because usually it is the case, if the Prophet is a false liar, a false prophet, once he gets the money, he wants to give it to his own what? His own children, his own family. But the Prophet's law, they don't bequeath. It's not an easy thing to be a prophet. So whatever he gets in his hand, he can't pass it on to his children. They don't really bequeath dirham or dinar, but they bequeath what? Knowledge. إنما ورث العلم فمن أخذ به أخذ بحظ وافر. He who takes the knowledge, he takes a lot of abundance. What more do you want? Knowledge. But for the sake of that, when we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah would elevate those people amongst you who are believers, and the ones who are seeking knowledge, darajat, ranks and paradise. Besides that, we need to make sure that after we have enlightened you with some of the virtues of the knowledge, and how important it is to get the knowledge, we need to correct your intention for gaining the knowledge. Gaining the knowledge is not here just to come and basically is for the sake of it, to say that, I come to the circle. And then somebody is not in the circle, I haven't seen you last night at the circle. It's not because of that you want to tell him, come to the circle, but because you want to say that, I come to the circle, you don't come to the circle. That's not right. Or some people just want to gain some knowledge, so in order to go and challenge people who are not really as knowledgeable as him, and you start challenging them, what is the rule regarding this issue? And you start challenging. If you want to gain the knowledge for the sake of the challenge, for the sake of fighting, then I would suggest for you to go put some horns on top of your head and start charging like a bull. Okay, put some horns, yeah? Don't charge like a bull. If you want a bull, be a bull, that's different. It's not to be a bull here. We don't want to have bulls, horns, to be bullying people. We're not in a wrestling match. My purpose to come here to remove the ignorance from myself, and my target as well, to remove the ignorance from other people. That's my purpose of coming to the class. And my target is to enter Jannah, to satisfy the Lord, the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. So some of the students, when they come, some are very mustajib, very quick. He thinks that, one class, two class, 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months, that's it. Yeah, akhi, the knowledge is not like that. It cannot be taken by 1 or 2 days or 1 month or 2 months. You need to be patient. Patience is very important. And the knowledge, as the knowledgeable people said, dry. Dry? It's dry. So I'm not really making music, entertaining you and dancing and making performing sort of nasheed and all of that, where the people would be willing to stay for longer and longer, okay, because it goes with their whims and desires. No, this is something that is, you might say, it's boring. Something is boring, really very hard for me to stay put just to listen to قال Allah, قال رسوله. But I'm telling you, what we're going to be able to study is not really as what people think. It's very dry. It's lubricated so much because it's fiqh. And fiqh, when you talk about something that you know about, like prayers and fasts and all of that, you'll enjoy it. You enjoy it so much. It's only when you talk about things that you don't know about, some transaction that you've never heard of, and that will be alien to you. And then you'll find you're not comfortable with it. But you need to be patient. So this fiqh, very, very jolly, very nice. You love it. It talks about the tahara, the foundations of your ibadah. Tahara have to be pure. For verily, you will realize later on and acknowledge that some people been making this tahara wrongly. A person could be praying for 60 years, none of his prayers is accepted. I'm not saying this, the Prophet said. A person might pray for 60 years, none of his prayers have been accepted. 60 years. Prophet is talking about now something wrong with the prayer. He might complete his ruku' but not complete his sujood. He might complete his sujood but not complete his ruku'. But this is talking about the prayer. But some people will not have their prayer accepted because they did not make wudu properly. Very important to know that the wudu, I need to make it properly. Some people, they can't make wash after the janaba or after a marital relation or all that. They don't know how to make the wash. So it's not really shame upon me to come and learn my deen. Okay? Some of you that they don't care, for example, that the elbow is being cleaned properly or having water on top of it. All his wudu is invalid, which invalidates his prayer. There are lots of things that like that. So, because I have been asked to do 5 daily prayers, I need to make sure that my prayers are correct. So, what is one of the conditions of prayer? The wudu. So, I need to make sure that I'm pure as well. Fasting. It's incumbent upon me, if I reach my puberty, to learn that how to fast Ramadan and what breaks the fast and what is the invalidators of the fast. Zakat. When I'm rich, when I get the threshold, I have to have the knowledge in order to know how much is due on me, that is from the zakat. If I'm not rich, if I'm poor, it's not incumbent upon you to learn the fiqh of zakat. But it is incumbent upon you to learn the fiqh of salah because you pray. It is incumbent upon you to learn the fiqh of siyam because you have to fast. And when you do the Hajj, you have to do Hajj. You have to learn how to make the Hajj. You can't just simply say, I just see the people, wherever they go, I'll go. No. If you're doing something wrong. Prophet did not say, oh people follow people. He didn't say that. He didn't say, oh people follow people. He said, oh people follow the Lord, messenger of the people. That's it. I'm not going to put my, because these people, they don't know what they're doing. You might end up rotating around toilets instead of rotating around Kaaba. Because the people, they don't know what they're doing. So, that is why it's important for us to sit in these classes. Some of the people, they come as well to test how good is the teacher. Don't have that intention. I just want to figure out how good is he. And some of them want to count how many mistakes he does. No. We're coming here for the sake of knowledge and to gain the knowledge, and the knowledge isn't going to come, but it's patience. Patience is the key for success. This is an introduction, and it's really a quick introduction, because we need to go onto our book, Al-Wajiz. Al-Wajiz, the concise, the title of it gives you a hint. So it's alhamdulillah, concise. It's well, mashallah, gathered. It is not really the detailed ones which might drive some people away from learning it, like the books of, for example, some books been made by the scholars like Imam Nawawi. When you look at it, about 26 volumes, and it really goes deep into some of the issues that might not really be comfortable for the ones who are not dedicated students. So it's not really good to teach such books. So we, like al-Majmu', book called al-Majmu'. So that is why we chose something which is called Concise, Al-Wajiz. And the person who had written that book and gathered it is called Sheikh Abu Suhaib. He's a doctor now, PhD in religion. Doctor, but doctor means nothing for me. Sheikh is even higher for me. Sheikh, and rightly so being labeled by some of our scholars like Sheikh Al-Halabi, said, great Sheikh. Abu Suhaib Badawi. He's a person, he was at the beginning of his, you could teaching career, he was in Jordan. And I myself met the Sheikh, Hafidhahullah, he's alive by the way. And he's from Egypt, but he was in Jordan teaching there. And subhanAllah, he left, and we lost a lot when he left. And he had a friend and a student of his called Sheikh Abu Islam, a friend and a student of his. And he's very close to him. And I bring this topic because of something happened last night after I finished my class in Brixton. I had a very sad news, which is at our friend and our brother, the Sheikh, who is a student of the Sheikh of Abu Suhaib, Sheikh Abu Islam, well-known Sheikh, that passed away. He died. I had actually, alhamdulillah, seen him twice a month and a half ago. First time I saw him, and he was giving a khutbah even he was ill. We call him the Khatib of the Salaf. He's the Khatib of the Sunnah in this era. And he was giving the khutbah. After the khutbah, he invited me for food, and I said I don't have time at the moment, and hugged him and everything. And then he went to hospital. Then I paid a visit to him along with the Sheikh Mashhoor, Hafidhahullah. And we stayed for about good 20 minutes there. Subhanallah. And he was suffering from something to do with the kidney, and he died yesterday night with having great sorrow on him and grieving, wallahi. But when I looked at the janazah today, was after dhuhr, and I would like you as well to inshallah share with me, just to look at the janazah. That I don't have really full documents of it, but I'm going to just give you a glimpse of that. You could just Google it out, you could put on YouTube, Sheikh Abu Islam's janazah. So today I have been updated by the shuyukh telling me about the janazah. of the Sheikh Rahmatullahi alayhi. So, with me. There he is, by the way. He's being carried here. We're talking about, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people. There he is. We will update you with, I don't have the number, but I'm pretty sure. Rahmatullah, there he is. He has asked actually for him to be carried on the shoulders, not to be carried on just like the Sunnah. And by the way, this is Jordan, and he's Egyptian, the person. Well, we don't differentiate with the person, a sheikh, the scholar is a scholar. So you could have an Indian big sheikh amongst the Saudi Arabians, they will honor him. But the people here, they love him so much. Anyway, that's death is inevitable on us. May Allah have mercy upon him. The Sheikh Rahmatullah alayhi himself as well, he had explained this book. He went through it with his students as well. Sheikh Abdul Badawi, in the last days before the Sheikh died, he was with him in the hospital. So he left Egypt, came to Jordan, and he stayed for the last 2 weeks with him. Just stay inside and making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making dua to Allah. I mean, this is the real brotherhood, basically. The real brotherhood. Right, so the Sheikh, Hafidhahullah al-Azim, he had made this book, and he made an introduction for it, and I would like to go through the introduction of this book. He says here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made the people into 2 categories: knowledgeable people and people who are laymen, ones which are not knowledgeable. And he had commanded those ones who are not knowledgeable to ask the people who are knowledgeable. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of remembrance, the people of knowledge, if you know not. So, the person who is a layman had been confronted with something that he needs to ask regarding it in religion. He goes to the Mufti. So he would say to him, please, can you just show me the guidance and the haqq and the truth regarding this matter? So the person, the Shaykh, he says, the person, he should not, the Mufti, say that, oh, well, regarding this issue we have 2 sayings. So choose whatever you like according to your whims and desire. The scholar would not say that. So there's 2 options. Shafi'i says haram, and for example, Hanafi says halal. So maybe according to what you like, you could choose. Nobody can say that, because that you are actually making now the whims and the desires to govern your affairs in the religion, which is not allowed. Okay, so the person, when he comes to the scholar, the layman, not the knowledgeable person, when he asks the Mufti, then he's asking the Mufti to tell him what is the correct. So if he gave 2 opinions, he should say, and I believe that the correct opinion is this one. But not to say to him, I leave it to yourself, you choose according to your whims and desires. That's not allowed. So that is, have you got the introduction, by the way?
Author's introduction.
Sorry?
Author's introduction.
Introduction of the author. No. Oh, well, this is from the introduction, not from the author, from somebody else on the book. Okay. Maybe you don't have it. Okay. Right, this is just a small introduction from somebody onto the book, and the introduction of the Sheikh himself. We find Sheikh Rahmatullah, Hafidhahullah, he had started with Khutbat al-Hajah, which is the one in Alhamdulillah, fully. So if you learn Khutbat al-Hajah, you learn from there. Is it got it? You got it there? Yes, mashallah. Right, so he starts by saying, I'm going to ask you now, have you got another microphone to read for me? Elaborate? Or shall I read myself at the moment, and then you get a microphone next time, inshallah? Okay. Yes, sorry. So he says, after he had finished the Khutbat al-Hajah, basically he said that the fiqh is from the greatest of knowledge, because this worship will not be correct unless you understand the fiqh. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He said in His verse, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, I created the jinn and mankind nothing for nothing except for worshipping me, then the worship is the target. And if it is the target, then I need to learn how to go on with the worship correctly. So my tawheed has to be correct, monotheism, and also my ibadah has to be correct. Right, so the fiqh today's, it does not stop onto just knowing merely the ahkam al-shari'iyah, which are regarding mu'amalat and ahkam, but also it regards all types of aspects in religion. So there's fiqh regarding tawheed, fiqh regarding seerah, which is biography, all of that is to be learned as well. Now this book, which you have at the moment, that I believe that lots of people have benefited, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had written and ordained for this book to be spread amongst lots of people, translated to many languages. That book is actually corrects everything that you need regarding your everything to do with ibadah, to do with even mu'amalat, which is transaction and trading. And also it is based upon the Book of Allah and the authentic Sunnah. That's important. The authentic Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And it gives priority and precedence to the text over the opinions, and that is important. So the Nas, the text from Allah and His Messenger, is the one to lead us in any matter regarding the fiqh. So in this way, it will make sure that the Imam's madhab of Al-Hanafi and Shafi'i and all of that is closer to the haqq, rather than to have the madhab in itself is the haqq itself. So this is basically what the book is all about. Right, the book had been done in a way that is to make the tahara first, which is the purification, and kitab al-tahara is first, and then after that salah, and after that siyam, which is namaz, prayer, and then fasting, and then zakah, and then hajj, and then after that marriage, and after that bay', trading, and then after that the vows, and after that food and drinks, and then after that the wills, then after that the inheritance, and after that prescribed punishment, then the crimes, then the judgments, and then jihad, and then finally the emancipation, itq. The way that is being done in this way, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created the creation in order to worship Him, and because of the salah is the root of the ibadat, and it's the pillar of the religion, that is why the prayer has to be started with. And the tahara has to be before, because the tahara is a condition for the prayer to be accepted. So that's why you find the purification in purity, tahara, is before, because there will be no way for your prayer to be accepted except if you have mastered your purification. Then after that, you'll find after the salah and the tahara, you'll find the siyam, the fasting. Then the chapters which I've mentioned before. This is the way that why the author had made the book according to the importance of the ibadat. Ibadat, of course, the most important one is the salah. Okay, first book, chapter is called At-Tahara. Are you ready, brothers, to start with? I'm going to just... please. Sisters, you need to buy a book called the Concise. How many people got books? Please put your finger up. 1, 2, 3 people, 4 people here, 5. Put your finger up, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 people got here to buy the book, including me, 6th one. And sisters, I don't know how many books you've got there, but we need books. You need to look. You need to follow me. So in order to ask, now we need to write on the book or on a notebook. But I prefer to write on the book itself, with a pencil, not with a pen. Because you might, rub and so on. Book, we don't want it to be clean. We want it to be what? full of writings. Clean books is not good. I mean, you didn't read them. Okay? I want them. I'm not just clean, I'm saying eat sandwiches on them. I'm just saying clean as in writing wise. You should be clean, of course. You can't put olives and olive oil and all of that. But I'm just saying it has to be writings on the sides of the book. If you are Arab, don't buy the English one. Buy the Arabic one. Okay, I mean, مش عارف. Okay, you buy the Arabic book. Right, the author had started with al-Tahara. And I will let, later on, a person to read. Can we swap the microphones?
Yes, sir.
Be able to, yes sir?
Sorry?
Will you be able to read? Or shall I choose somebody else? It's up to you.
I'll do that with reading.
Because I thought you were sitting at the table for reading.
No, I have a back problem, that's why.
Okay, right, okay.
Abdullah?
Yalla Abdullah, ta'ala.
The chair, inshallah. Take that one off there.
It's getting warm here, by the way. If it's possible to open the windows. Yeah, I'm getting warm. I don't like warm.
Air conditioning.
I like cold. You don't need air conditioning. It says outside is enough. You brothers, I don't know if you feel warm, cold, but I feel hot. You can see me.
Next time we put the table behind the...
Yes, I would like that. If you put me the table next to there, yes sir,
Yeah.
I would be happy. Really happy.
Shall we do it now?
Just get it closer because I don't like the heat. I'm an anti-heat person.
That's it.
Microphone. No, don't step on the microphone wire. Can you see the wire? Yeah, don't put your chair onto the wire. You might snap it. Okay. Is anything coming out of that? Are you feeling anything coming?
So take a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we need two microphones, all right, next time. Tahara. Yes. Read from the chapter 1, purity.
Chapter 1, purity.
You need to move the microphone because the sister's there. Remember? Not talking to yourself.
Chapter 1, purity. Lexically, the word tahara means cleaning and being free from impurity. As a technical term, it means lifting spiritual impurity and removing physical impurity.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. The reason I said that we need somebody to read, because first of all, we want to distinguish between the text and explanation of the text. Number two, it does give a flavor. The person moves from microphone from one person to another. It makes the person alert, better. That's how we used to study with the shuyukh. Person would read, another person, the sheikh would be explaining. And the person who would read, we would like him to be prepared. We don't want a person to start startling. Today, no problem, because but later on, we don't want to. What is that word? And we want the person to be prepared, and he knows the meaning of the words that he's reading. Because I'm reading in Arabic and you're reading in English, and by the way, we're trying as well to eliminate as many as possible from the mistakes of the translation, because there's many mistakes in the translation. In any chapter, they're going to start with a new title, the Ibadah. You're going to find the following: that the literal meaning the words in Arabic, what does it mean, and which is called with the linguistic, because literal, linguistic, and then you'll find the other meaning, which is the terminological, Sharia terminology. What does it mean? So what does it mean, tahara? What does it mean in Arabic? Tahara's Arabic word, the meaning of it is not the same as the terminology. الاصطلاح غير عن المعنى اللغوي. So in the tahara, in the language itself, it means tahara, purity. That's it. So you have purity from all these dirt, these things. But in the terminology, it's nothing to do like this. It's to do with set of things that you do in order to lift this impurity. Do you understand that? So for example, when you make tayammum, for example, tahara is there to wipe. Okay, tayammum, you know tayammum, to wipe. It is not really doing with water. Tayammum is doing with what? Dry ablution. So actually you are making purity with the thing that you always clean yourself away from, which is what? No. You know, if you have some sand on your hand, what do? You go to the water to clean it, isn't it? Now you're trying to purify yourself, to make yourself clean using that sand that you tried to get rid of when you, do you understand that? Yeah. So the Sharia, the purity is different from the wording. So if I said purity from the sand, you go and clean the sand. But when you say purity in the sand from the tayammum, you use the sand to get pure. So everything that we need in the Sharia, you can have two meanings for it. In the Arabic, what it means, and what it means then. For example, salah. Salah in Arabic means salah, means dua, supplication. But salah in the terminological, Sharia terminology, it means set of units that you pray with ruku' and sujood and prostrations. Right. Let me speak to the microphone. This doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Can you just put the book here? Relax. Can you just, you can relax.
Water and its various categories.
It doesn't work. He's not speaking to the microphone. Your sister's got children there, they're not going to hear you. And I would like...
Water and its various categories.
That's better.
All water that falls from the sky or comes from the earth is pure. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا. We send down purifying water from the sky. Also, the Prophet ﷺ said about the water in the ocean, its water is pure and its animals that have died are permissible to eat. Furthermore, the Prophet ﷺ also said about well water, verily water is pure and nothing makes it impure. Thus, it remains in a state of purity, even if someone pure mixes with it, as long as it is still considered pure water.
Oh, continue.
For example, the Prophet ﷺ told the women who were preparing his daughter for burial, wash her 3, 5, or more times, as you see fit, with water mixed with lotus leaves, and make the last one with camphor or with some camphor.
Okay, that's it. Right. The first thing when we talk about purity, definitely going to talk about the substance by which we could really achieve such purity, and that is the water. We need to talk about what is the water that really gains you the purity. So here he had mentioned the types of water which are considered to be pure, and the water in itself has two elements in it. That is pure in itself and the ability to purify. Because if the water had mixed up with an element to such an extent that is not called water anymore, then it will have the purity element, but it will not be able to purify. For example, if the water was mixed with flour, flour is pure to such an extent that you see the water is white now, like milk. Okay? like milk. Now that milk or milky water is pure to touch. You could make wudu with it, but it's not going to be valid because it lost the second element of that, which is what? The ability to purify. In Arabic we call it tahur. Tahur, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا. We have, you don't ask now, and we have made from the water, we have made from the heavens, that is water to descend down, that's the rain. Tahur. Tahur, طاهر في نفسه ومطهر لغيره. Is pure in itself and has the ability to purify other elements. Arabic word tahur. So the word tahir, that means pure in itself. But tahur has another element to it, which is what? Ability to purify. So anything that comes out from the heavens, whether it is hail, snow, sleet, rain, all that's to be what? Tahur. That is pure in itself, has the ability to purify. Whether this water from the heavens landed on the earth and started running, still tahur. Even though it mixed up with some sand at the end, it's tahur. But if that sand mixed up so much, it became muddy, do you understand me? It's not water, it became mud, then it is pure in itself, but lost its ability to purify. Prophet ﷺ talked about the sea. This is the general sea. When the Prophet ﷺ being approached by some of the companions, the messenger of Allah, when we sail on this ship or on the boats, we carry some water with us. O Prophet of Allah, if we start to use this water to make wudu with, we will not have enough water for us to drink. So the Prophet ﷺ is giving them an answer, which is not just for their question, for another question that comes to your mind, and that is important for the mufti. Is not just to limit his answer to something that is being specified by that questioner, but also there is a chance to explore in order to the benefit. So the Prophet of Allah said, oh, well, the sea, the water of it is tahur, so it's pure in itself and purifies. Not only that, the animal which are in it, dead, they come out, is what? Also halal to eat. They didn't ask him about that. They asked him what? About the water. They could have some water with them, they carry it from the boat, and that water they use it for wudu, it's not going to be enough for them for drink. So the Prophet answered, for the sea, you've got a whole sea there. You've got a whole sea there. So that sea is not just for you to make wudu with and purify, but also any animal in there, if it comes out and it dies, you don't slaughter fish, don't slaughter whales, okay? All of that will be halal to eat. So the snakes of that sea is what? Halal. Eels, halal. The nice one, the Chinese eat them. So the snake of the land is what? Haram, because it's got fangs. The snake of the sea is halal. Is that from the mashallah? It's good. So, and I have watched a program, and it's recorded on my laptop here. It's a person who is British. He is basically an adventurer. You could call him a loony, whatever you like. He goes to explore the lands, and he basically goes to very sort of odd circumstances where he has to live and make his living out of the land. I don't know, I can't remember the program itself.
Bear Grylls, I think it's called.
Huh?
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls?
Yeah, I think
okay, well, whatever that person is, that name is his name, yeah? Yeah, they throw him somewhere and he has to live, basically. And I learned from him because I learned how things taste. For example, he drank his own urine. Yeah. So, he is expert. But as I said, it's not right to drink the urine because he said it's not necessarily, it kills your basically kidney. But in circumstances where you need to survive. That's how they survive. What I want to do actually talk about is that he tried to eat lots of things, and he gives us what they taste. From the things that he had eaten, the snake of the land, he had to eat it. So he barbecued it, and he had to eat, but he had to eat bit, but it was really rubbish, the rest of it. Just for him to survive. Rubbish. But when he was in the sea and he got the snake from the sea, and he had eaten it and given us a taste of it, he said, it tastes like fish. Subhanallah. That tells you. He said, it tastes like fish. So the snake of the sea tastes like fish, but the snake of the land is horrible. He didn't want to eat a lot of it. Okay? He even ate skunk. You know? He had eaten the skunk. Right. But it does not stink when you eat it. Different. Coming back. So by the way, when we say the things in the sea are allowed to eat as long as they don't kill you. So there's poisons, and there's some snake, there's some of the fish, we call it the stonefish. You know the stonefish? Yeah. If you step on it, it kills you. It's got poison. And it's like a stone, pretends to be a stone. Now that fish, if you remove the poisonous stuff out of it, then whatever is inside is what? Halal, no problem. Okay? So it's halal. Same thing with the land. Anything to do with the crops is halal. But if one of the crops is going to give you what? Poison. You can't get rid of the poison, it's haram to eat that because it will kill you. Or that plant going to give you, to make you high, like one of these heroines and all of that, haram. So basically, whatever's in the land from the crops is halal, whatever's in the sea is halal, but as long as it's not harmful to the person. Prophet ﷺ, he said about the sea, and that is also not every sea. There is a sea you can't make wudu out of it. Dead Sea. Why is it Dead Sea you can't make wudu out of it? It's not because it's dead. Why is the Dead Sea being called Dead Sea? Because there's not a single animal lives in it. No fish, it's nothing. So why can't make wudu in it? Well, there's two reasons. One reason it is that if it is the people of Lut, alayhi salam's area, we're not allowed to make wudu out of it. And another reason as well, that the water is being mixed so much, which is a weak reason, that it's with the salt, it's not water anymore, it's salt. And actually, I went the last time to the Dead Sea to see it. And I know it. And I swim in it as well. Because I don't believe it's the Lut alayhi salam's place. But the sea, the amount of salt in it, as soon as you go in, you have to go to normal water to wash yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be dried up with some salt. It'll be like cracking. Or it will be salty in your body and everything. It'll be itching. So salty, the water. If anything goes into your eyes, you're going to be shutting your head off. SubhanAllah. Then he said, the tahur, the ma', Prophet said, the ma' is tahur, it will not be impurified with anything. That is, if it is big quantity, it will not be. So for example, the sea, you cannot pollute the sea, no matter how much you're going to urinate in it, and how much you're going to make poo in it, it's still there. So let's just go to something which is more practical, understandable. You know the sea that the Hindu, they throw their dead body in it? The river, or sea, remember? The Ganges. It's a big one. They throw their dead body in there. Even though that is, some area stinks. I said to my brothers, stinks, that area. But that water, we cannot say that it is being polluted. Because it's big water. No matter how many people you throw in it, how many charcoals of dead bodies, still it is pure. That's what the Prophet meant. But it doesn't mean that if this water pure, I cannot impurify it. Of course it will purify. Just put some urine in it, it will become impure. But he's not talking about this, he's talking about big quantities, like the sea and the oceans. Nothing will impurify it. And Prophet ﷺ, he said to the women who were giving a wash to his daughter, she died, Zainab. Prophet of Allah, he said to the woman washing her, wash her 3 times, or 5 times, or more, as long as it is odd number. So the minimum is what? 3. You could go more, but with odd, 5, 7. Then he said, with water and sidr. What is sidr? Lot. Lote is means like it was soap these days, because it's got nice essence in it, it's got nice smell to it. So they mix it to the. So when you mix that lote tree or leaves with the water, it does not take the water element of purification. Still there, it purifies. And then he said, make the last one with camphor. I don't know if you know camphor or not. Camphor is a white thing, white cube. They put it inside the water. It's really nice smelling. Still, that water is what? Water. Because it did not take it away from its being water, even though the smell of it is not. It smells camphor. See, the water's got 3 elements. Number 1, taste. Number 2, smell. Number 3, color. Those 3 things, taste and smell and color, even if the 3 had been changed with the mixing of a pure element and the water is still called water, it is still purifies. Do you get me? So if we mix camphor with the water, it's going to change, of course, the smell and the taste. Definitely. The camphor is going to change it. It's called camphor. And the color of it, maybe slightly, not that much. But you still look at the water, still water, then still we could use it for what? Purification. Only when you say that is, no, it's not water anymore, it's milk, it's mud, it is, you understand me? It's not water anymore. It's not. It is rose water. You know rose water? It's not water anymore. So it take it away completely from being called water. Whereas if the water is mixed for an impure element, like urine, like sewage, okay, then if one of those characteristics is changed, then the water is impure. So the difference between the mixing with pure element and impure element. We said with pure element, regardless it changes the color and the taste and the smell, yet water is called water, then still is pure in itself and able to purify. But whereas, if the water has mixed up with an impure element like urine or sewage or whatever, then we say that if one of those characteristics is changed, then the water is impure. So if it smells urine, I don't need to taste it. I don't need to taste it. If it smells urine and it looks like urine, khalas, I don't need to go and taste it. Khalas, it's impure. That's the difference between the mixing of the pure and impure element to the water. Right. Then he says, go on, the najasa.
Water would not be considered impure, even if something impure should mix with it, unless the impurity changes its quality. This is based on the hadith of Abu Suhaib, who narrated, it was said to the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, shall we make ablution from the well of Huda? This is the well in which the filth of menstruating women, dogs, and putrid things were thrown. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, verily water is pure and purifying, and nothing makes it impure.
And this is the end of the chapter. That was number 1. So we're going to go to chapter number 2 inshallah next time, 2 weeks time. And that is the impurity. But he says here that if it's being changed, and I have explained to you the change here. There's 3 characteristics. If one of the characters is being changed, if an impure element is being mixed, then definitely that substance, that water will lose its purity totally and become impure if it's changed the color or the taste or the smell. Hadith Bi'r Buda'a. Bi'r Buda'a is the well of Buda'a. It's a well-known well. People used to throw, not deliberately, you have to understand that. The menses and the dog's meat and all of that, they don't throw it deliberately. What happens is that, for example, if menses took place for the women and they threw their towels, and then the rain came and they took that menses towel, they threw it in the well. But it doesn't mean it's not allowed to throw impure elements into a well which is for drinking. Do you understand that? But it's been washed out with the rain, brought those dead animals, They went in the well, and the well was big enough. So the well was not really small, that would be changed for, about, remember the Ganges River we talked about? The well is a lot of water. So if, for example, you have a tank of water, a big tank, and somebody was urinating next to it, and one drop of urine went into the tank, do you think the tank became impure? No, it's still pure. Yes, you'd be disgusted to drink from it, but it's still pure because nothing has changed. Even 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, even maybe if you put a glass of urine, little glass, in a big tank, it will not change anything in the water. But if the water is small quantity, then maybe 1 drop will change it. Okay, you understand now the difference? By this, we stop here, and we give you, inshallah, the time for asking the question. I've seen our hands raised here. Would you like to take notes, my dear boy? So you bring your book. The recorder, it will help to revise. But to go back home and start from the recording and take information, write it down, it's going to be time consuming, a lot. So the recording has to be help. Like for example, something I missed, then I go on. So in the classes, I will preoccupy myself if there's something, I write it down. So when I come to the recording, it's to perfect, not to start from the beginning, because you don't have time for that. But it's good, you're doing very well. So what's your question?
If it's like a muddy place and you dig and there's fresh water, is that impure or pure?
So if there was a muddy place and you dig and there was a nice clean water.
Not like clean, like if you were to dig and you find water coming
Sure.
from the ground.
Yes, if it's clean, means if it's still not muddy, alhamdulillah, we can make water with it, no problem, inshallah. Now, you must have been watching that program. Because that guy was digging and he was getting water out of the mud. And he was putting that towel and he was collecting some clean water from that. Wasn't he?
Yeah, he's using it as a sieve.
Yeah. He's very, very good, he is. He learned it in the army, they said.
Yeah, SAS he was in.
But not everybody's like him. Lots of people learned in the army. But it must be he's good. He's good. Yeah. Now, we need you as well when you prepare, inshallah, at home, to prepare some questions so you could really make ourselves to start scratching our minds about these answers. Further.
The drinks, the water drinks, the transparent drinks, it's got flavour, taste, completely clean. Is it? Can you make wudu with it?
Right. So, by the way, the sister can write a question if you want. He's saying, the brother here, that let's say roseberry water or Volvic water, which has got the taste of strawberry. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you make wudu out of it? Do you call it water or you call it strawberry water?
Strawberry water.
So it changed the taste and the colour?
Not the colour.
Not the colour.
No.
Okay. By the way, the colour, the substance itself, it could have the same colour as the water. The strawberry water, I don't call it water anymore. So I have to be careful making wudu with that. Do you understand me? I would be careful. So it's a good example, but isn't it like the rose water? Rose water. Yes?
Yeah, there's
Rose, you know rose water? You put it on the food. Come on, you make cake out of it, rose
Yeah,
water.
yeah,
It's white, isn't it?
yeah.
Come on, ask the women, they will know.
It's clear, yeah.
Comes in the glass, does it?
Yeah.
Clear.
Clear, yeah.
You can't make all water because it really become roses. Actually, the juice of the rose. So if it's the same, then you can't make all the water.
But this one is transparent.
But it's going to be too expensive to make all these things, by the way.
Just because he said the colours haven't changed completely. So.
Yes. No. It is not to change the 3 elements. It has to change to such an extent they don't call it water. Remember, this is pure element come with the water, different from the impure. The pure element, it might change to 3 or 2, but as long as it stays water, it is clean and will have the ability to purify. But I'm asking about that example of yours. Do you call it water anymore, or you call it now? Do you understand me?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. It's a lemon water.
Because if you want to come down to this, and then petrol, the petrol fuel, same color as the water. Can you make wudu with petrol?
No.
And because it's called petrol. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
You don't call it water mixed with petrol. It could be water mixed with petrol, but it's called it petrol. True or not? So if I have, for example, a glass of water here, or a bottle, and had a bottle of fuel, clean petrol, benzene, mixed it together, can I make wudu with it? No, because it's called what? Benzene. Even though the color don't taste, of course, because it kills you, but nah, it's not water anymore.
How about the water that has fizz to it? Is that not considered water anymore as well? The
So tonic.
Sparkling type of water.
Tonic's called one.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I'm asking, if it's water, no problem. If it is, so the water made it fizzy. So you make like this and you put it like this and start it fizzy. No problem, it's water. But if it's not water, so this is very, you're talking about very close sort of things.
Yeah.
If you call it water, no problem. I would not push myself to go make wudu with tonic water. Now. Pardon?
What about making wudu with stagnant water, like stagnant? Where does it flow anywhere? There's a hole. Just
Yeah, I mean, where? Sewage, for example.
pond or something.
All the puddles and the ponds and all of that might change their taste and even their color and even the smell because the algae is no problem. Why? The elements, they don't really go away from the water because most of the waters in those ponds and all of those where the rocks are, they'll have algae, which we call it elements that became part of the water, if you understand me. It's not added to the water, it's part of the water. So all of that, you might find even a smell of damp to it, isn't it? Damp. You still can make wudu out of it. It's not you have added something to it, but this is where the water stays. So it brings this algae in itself, it brings the smell in itself. Do you understand me? So we call it ma la yanfakku min. This is the water has been mixed up with something that is always attached to it. That's a good question. So in the caves you'll find that water which is really even smells horrible because they're damp, but it's still water. Sure. Now, very good. Sister, do you have any questions? Please pass your papers on to us and would like you to share us all with us, inshallah. And by the way, the class will finish all the time, not more than 8:30. Not more than 8:30, inshallah. Between 7 and not more than 8:30. But tonight is an exception because we started a bit late. Okay, do you have any suggestions? Because the class, the first class, do you have any suggestions to add, to subtract, to elaborate, to give us some sort of, your ideas on this class? Hi, Akhwana. Okay, I don't know if that's a sign of happiness or sign of objections.
When you make ghusl, can you use...
That's a question. I thought it was a suggestion. Question, okay, go ahead.
If you make ghusl, can you use soap and soap?
Can we just, by the way, don't jump into ghusls and all, but let's talk about the water.
Yeah,
Wait.
the water. Can you, before you use the water, can you use shampoo, body lotion or soap?
Okay, can I go into a bubble bath? That's what you say. Okay, that's a big question for them. By the way, if you had put the shampoo, the bubbles, so much into the water, it became no water anymore. It became bubbles. It is pure, but it's not having the ability to purify. So you should have a shower after that. Do you understand me? So if you put the bubbling shampoo into the water so much that you look at it, it's not water anymore. It's shampoo. It is bubble. That's what you're asking. Then you should come out and put yourself with water, which is to make the water. Now,
I'm saying that, can you use shampoo, body lotion or soap on your body before you put water?
no problem to put shampoo onto your body and put the water, because the shampoo does not prevent the water to reach your skin. But you don't make wudu like this way, تفضل.
طاهر لنفسه طهور لغيره.
مطهر.
متغير لغيره. الإنسان مطهر لغيره, so you can make wudu and all this. طاهر لنفسه, is it because that means you can drink it, you can
No.
use it for other things?
طاهر لنفسه, be pure in itself, it doesn't mean you can drink it. When we see petrol, petrol is pure in itself. Don't drink petrol, please.
So what's the طاهر?
That means it's not impure, it's not مش نجس. Because if it's impure, you should really keep away from it. say, impure. Impurity means you don't touch it. Would you touch urine? Would you touch poo? So that's called impure. That's what it's called. So the opposite of impure is pure, but it doesn't mean when you say it's pure, that means you could eat it, or drink it, or even smell it. I'm going to make you now scratch your sort of intellect. The passing of the wind that comes out of the person, is that pure or impure? You're laughing. I'm asking a proper question. Pure.
Yes.
Do you understand that pure? But we're not saying to you go and take it from the back of the person, put it in your mouth. We're not saying to go and smell it. But that gas, that wind, is pure. You understand me? So if somebody had passed wind in the room, say, well, okay, let's get out because it's an impure room. Do you understand that? So meaning pure, it doesn't mean that is you could eat it and drink it. It could be pure, and there's other things we're going to come to. For example, the sperm. Some of the sperm of the human being is pure, but nobody's going to eat the sperm. So that is pure and impure. Impure means you don't get close to it, don't touch it. That's impurity. Now, alcohol, pure or impure?
Pure.
Pure, but you don't
Drink it.
drink it. And even some of the scholars, they don't allow something with it, which is what? Don't use it even in perfume. We're going to talk about that in a country. Tap water. It says here, which is lime scale is still halal, not halal. It's not supposed to be halal. Is it pure to purify? Yes, it is. The scale is part of the water. It's part of it. It develops it itself, just like the algae, just like the damp. Okay. Now, Fadal.
If somebody does wudu, can you use their water for wudu even if
Can I use the water which is being taken out from the limbs of somebody after so he had made wudu into a bucket? So whatever comes out of his hand into a bucket. Can I use that water? Of course you can. We will not have second-hand water. Oh, by the way, brother, second-hand water has been used. Third-hand water has been used. You could use that water. Prophet ﷺ, he had made the wudu and he even made cleaned his nose in it. And the companions took it and made wudu out of it and rubbed their hands with it. It is pure. So we've got the ma' al-musta'mal, the used water, it is pure as well. Right, as you see, mashallah, it's scratching. You are really coming out with good questions. Good. Last question for you.
Water with chlorine in it. That used for purification?
Why the chlorine?
Swimming pool.
Oh, the swimming pool, yes. Chlorine into the water, it is not, still water is clean, you can make wudu in the swimming pool. Subhanakallah bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
You have